All right, folks, gonna share with you a case study I'm kind of in the middle of. Haven't had one that's been super interesting in a really long time. If you guys don't like case studies or videos without, rust torches and air hammers, close the window, go watch something else right now. So just forewarning, it's gonna be kind of boring and semi-nerdy, and we're gonna be looking at a computer screen. 2011 Buick, it's the Enclave. It's got the big 3.6, 108,000 miles on it, and I'm the third shop to have the thing. So here's what the customer told me. They hopped in it. She drove, 40 minutes away, went to the store. Everything's fine. Car's been fine. No engine lights, anything like that. Comes out of the store. All it'll do is start and stall. Start, stall, start, stall. Had called the tow truck. She got a ride home. This went to shop number 1. They put the cam solenoids on it. They did all the injector or all the coils, all the spark plugs. The host of parts there. Of course, that didn't make it any better. Still start stall, wouldn't run. They took it to shop number 2. Shop number 2 put a crank sensor in it, and then they also told me that they redid the plenum gasket because shop number 1 screwed up the plenum gasket. That's what I'm told. Long story short, shop number 2 did that stuff, still start stall. They said, major electrical wiring, computer, something like that. And then they got towed here. So I looked at it, and it's kind of bizarre. So it'll start and stall. Sometimes it starts and stays running for, a given amount of time, a minute, maybe 2 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, and then it stalls. If you keep it revved up, like let's say you prop the throttle at 2,500 RPMs, it will continue to run, but you'll hear the engine die out, just like you shut the key off and turn it back on. At that time, you'll see the tachometer will drop out too. It'll be steady, then it will drop. I'll show you because it's still acting up here. So at that point, I'm thinking, well, what are we going to do? What are we looking at? We got no codes, doesn't throw any codes. I'm thinking something crank related, crank sensor related. So first thing I did, grabbed the Pico. I tapped into the PCM over here in the corner and looked at the crank signal, and that sucker is rock steady. Right up to the point it stalls, even though the RPMs on scan data are dropping right to 0. When it does this, they shut right off to 0. The crank active tooth counter on the scan tool goes all crazy too. So that's why I'm thinking some kind of input, possibly a bad PCM because the crank input looks good. So let me show you what this car's doing. So I'll reach in here and start. I got my throttle prop there, but we're just gonna start it, see if it'll start. Runs. Sounds pretty good. For a 3.6, it sounds pretty good. So we'll come up here. Just have a listen to it. I mean, it doesn't sound like, timing change ready to jump through the cover or anything like that. If you give it a minute, it'll die. Usually. It can be really erratic, so we'll take and give it some throttle here. So that's with me just holding the throttle there. You guys seen that glitch like that, and that's the problem. It gets a lot worse. And I'll show you where I'm at with it and what I think I've discovered. Let me just give it the classic rev up, tune up here. If I can reach that pedal, there we go. See if it, there we go. It just stalled out at an idle. Perfect. Let me pause this. I'll show you what I think's happening. I guess first and foremost, I want to see if we set any codes. up until this point it hasn't, if there is any. There's been no, real direction in that regards. Let's see here. Let me just hit read codes again just in case. Yeah, so no codes. So I'll be honest with you, I found that super weird, and it was kind of leaning me towards, possibly a bad PCM, and that's why I started kind of checking inputs. I checked, alternator output, make sure there's no excessive AC ripple, a couple other inputs there, mostly looking at the crank signal, really thinking I was going to find something there. But what do we have on the screen right now are just 4 lines. Let's click back here. This is where we ended it. Okay, so what we have on the screen is all of our cam signals. So I looked at the crank signal. I saved some of them files I can share with you guys, but I was looking at these cam signals to see if I saw any anomalies with them. So the blue is bank 1 exhaust, this is bank 2 exhaust, this is bank 2 intake, and bank 1 intake. And they I don't want to say they mirror each other, they're bank 1 and bank 2 exhaust, you can almost, if the engine's perfectly in time, you can stick these two over top of each other, and they're exactly the same, and same goes for the intakes. You can throw them over top of each other, and they're good. So I'm just kind of collecting data, looking through it, and then I had this epiphany. Actually, I got to see what happened. I got to see when it broke, and let me just see if we can see it here, and we can. Okay, so the problem is on this trace right here. The problem is on bank 1 intake, so this yellow trace down here, and it goofs up, and then after it goofs up, it dies. So we can see, if you just simply want to look at the pattern, like 2 little humps, 2 big humps, 2 little humps, 2 big humps. And that pattern you can see here just repeats itself. Let me flip back to a screen before it stalled. We'll just enhance. We'll just look at the intake trace on bank 1 and bank 2. We'll zoom in on them a little bit, and like I say, you can see 2 little humps, 2 big humps, 2 little humps, 2 big humps. Without getting too technical about it, this is what the PCM sees. This is the raw data coming into this little guy. And let's see if we see any anomalies here. Just again, being simple-minded here, 2 little ones, 2 big ones, 2 little ones, 2 big ones. Easiest way to do it is just to overlay, one on top of the other. They essentially should almost disappear. The timing on these engines are never right on the money, but we don't see anything weird. Nothing's really jumping out here. I'll back up another screen. Nothing really weird there. Let me unenhance, and then we'll go to different waveform right here before it stalls. Look at this, and I can show you on another diagram also. I'm going to move our green trace up out of the way, but we got 2 little humps, 2 big humps, 2 little humps, 2 big humps. So we're 2 little, 2 big, and then something happens through here. We get this extra trigger. Okay, let me show you a better. I probably should have saved that. We're going to look at a waveform I already saved. So this is bank 1. Now this is just going to have the bank 1 intake and exhaust and crank, just bank 1 only. But I think this one still had the problem that I saved in, because this is where I initially saw it. So I'll let this load up. Let's see. I usually label my channels, but let's see channel labels here. Okay, so we're looking at bank 1 intake. So we're interested in the green trace this time. So let's just kind of scan ahead. Oh, actually I saw the problem right there. So we'll go back here. We'll move our crank signal down, because our crank signal worked good. This is the exhaust on bank 1. This is intake on bank 1. And like I say, we're supposed to have 2 little humps, 2 big humps, 2 little humps, 2 big humps. Well, look here. We've got a big hump, little hump, 2 big ones. And then you come through here. You can just see that the spacing is off. I don't know how to technically say it to you, but we'll come through here. We see another anomaly. Instead of having, too little, too big, 2 little ones, 2 big ones, and then all of a sudden a big one, a little one, and 2 big ones, and then 3 little ones, and then it's moments after this. This is just brief seconds go by, the car stalls, and this is the car just shutting off and petering off. So I guess what I'm getting at is, could we have seen this or isolated the problem, seen the problem without using a scope? I certainly couldn't. There's no codes, there's no direction, but I guarantee you that this is what's causing the car problem, and we're gonna prove it right now because we're gonna unplug the bank 1 intake, the one that was running on our yellow trace. We're gonna unplug that. Yeah, this file I started saving and my battery went dead, so we're gonna unplug it. We're gonna start the car, and I bet you dollars to donuts, once we unplug that, this thing should stay running good. And this is where I wanted to bring you guys along. Should have brought you through the whole process, but I was kind of scratching my head here for a minute, trying to get some direction. This is where we're at. I'm gonna get my stuff back on the screen here. We're gonna unplug the bank 1 intake that has these extra pulses on it from, from whatever it's getting them from, whether it's mechanical damage, that's to be determined, or if it's, a sensor just going stupid. Let me get these all up. I'll get everything sorted. We'll get it unplugged and get it on the screen. So it should be the rear bank intake. So it's going to be this one that's closer this way. There it is. I don't know. Of course, I got her really freaking toasty right now. That's a little too toasty. Let me get this. See if I can't unplug it, because it should run with one of the cam sensors unplugged. It probably run with multiple cam sensors unplugged. I gotta set you down. I can't get that sucker. Yowzer! Woo! She's toasty. Now I'm just gonna get a mirror down here. I don't believe that the previous shops had replaced any cam sensors. I think they told me that they did the solenoids there in the end of the head. I think that's what they told me that they put on it for whatever reason, which I'm not sure. With no codes, no direction, I don't know why you would unload those parts at it. I just want to get a mirror down here and see if the cam sensor, yeah, the solenoid has definitely been replaced. Oops, sugar. The sensor, I gotta find the sensor that I got unplugged. Oh, okay, there we go. So the sensor that I unplugged, it looks old and dusty, and the bolt doesn't look like it's been touched, so I don't think that they've replaced it, the best I can tell. It does not look new and shiny. The solenoid, however, actually both those solenoids are brand new, or pure brand new, but like I say, I don't know why, what the thought process was, other than, probably just guessing at the problem. Why did it get all brand new coils and new spark plugs and for a start stall problem? That's neither here nor there. So let's start it up with this unplugged. We shouldn't have anything up on the screen. I'm expecting an extended crank would be my guess. But if we're right and that signal is screwing up stuff, whether it's screwing up, spark timing or injection or, whatever parameter the PCM's seeing, and it's saying, well, wait a minute, and it starts messing with stuff till the engine stalls, that's my educated guess. Let's fire this thing up here. I'll take you right along with me. I don't know what I don't know. Shut this off. Might have to try it twice. There we go. Yeah, a lot of times when it's missing cam signal, it's gotta take a minute, but actually, let's see. Let's hold the RPMs up because it'll act up every time when we do that. look at that. Would you look at that? We just gotta do a cam sensor delete, leave that baby unplugged, ship it. So that's interesting. And then we can see, so our yellow trace, the one that was goofing up on us here. Let's move these down. There we go. So our yellow bank 1 intake is how I have it labeled here. We've got that unplugged because that was the one that was throwing a little hitch in its giddy up for whatever reason. So now we should be able to plug that back in to prove our theory, because if we plug that in, you know, it's going to goof up again, is my assumption. Wait a minute. Oh man. So I'm going to plug this thing in. Oh, there's something hitting that cam sensor. It scared me. I can feel it. Oh yeah, no, there's... Let me touch the other one here. Oh no, there's something hitting this thing. Oh man, I don't know how to show you that. I got an idea. You might be able to hear it. Let's get a long screwdriver. Stuck a megaphone on the end of the screwdriver. Must stick this on that cam sensor, see if, you know, because this produces sound. Hello, hello. Oh yeah, you can hear it. So all I've got the screwdriver tip on the cam sensor. Oh, it is an OEM one. I can see the mark on it. Hear that? That's not a sound you want coming from your cam sensor, lady. That could be bad. I'm gonna take and gouge it. I'll take and plug it in here. It should act up. There, we plugged it in. Yeah, dude, we can feel that thing hitting. I don't see it goofing up on the screen. Let me rev it up. I assume once we rev it up, it'll start screwing up. We got it parading back across the screen here. Sorry for the moving you around. I know this isn't ideal, like just pointing at the screen. Oh yeah, I just screwed up right there. We back it back up. Yeah, right there, that's interesting. It didn't stall. But we can see, you know, right here, see through some kind of triple banger little mark. But it's interesting, when it processed it, it didn't stall. But perhaps it's not looking at that cam sensor anymore. But it should have, certainly should have thrown a code, I would think. There should be a code in it now, because we had that. Oh, there it goes. It just died. Of course, we didn't have our scope recording, but yeah. So look at that intake cam sensor circuit 1 high voltage, because we have it unplugged. I'll be dipped, but that's not really the issue. I don't think we got a bad sensor. I think we got some funky probably going on in that engine. There's something coming apart probably. That's kind of a piss pot to get to. I went ahead and unplugged it again. This thing's hotter than a mother right now. You know how hot mothers get. Some of them. I want to see if we can't reach down here with a 10mm offset wrench. I'm kind of curious here before I go home for the evening. I kind of want to see what's up. You know, did the nut broke loose, the bolt broke loose. Power steering line is fucking hot as a banshee. My sensitive skin can't take it. See if we get this bolt out of here. at least pull this sensor out and find out what in the thunder happened. I can't imagine like the sensor swelling up and, you know, just all of a sudden hitting the end of the cam. See if I can get the bolts out of it here, or the bolt, singular. Woo! Oh, it's freaking hot. Come on, man. Oh yeah. There's the bolt. About 900 degrees. Hopefully that was the right bolt. It appears that it was. I'm going to see if I can't. Let me get a long screwdriver, see if I can stick down in there, folks. Where are you? I saw you. I saw you. It's too freaking hot. Come on, slide out of there. There we go. There we go. Come to pop, pop. What we got, boys? Let me set this down. Got nothing that's freaking metal. So what do we got? OEM sensor. Is all rounded off. It sits in there like this, right? Yeah, it's about like this. Connector faces up. That's interesting. Something's definitely chowdering into it there, huh? I hope that focuses for you guys and you can see it. Don't look at my nasty yellow fingernails, all right? Forget about that. We're working on this, okay? You have to get past it. Let's get a mirror and see what we can see. You can't look to see what you need to see unless you know what you expect to see. According to Napa, they got the know-how. This is what the right side intake cam sprocket looks like. Two little humps, two big humps. So this, when this trigger goes in front of our Hall effect sensor, this is what we interpret on the screen. We see the, you know, the two little humps and the two big humps, so to speak, or the two little gaps and the two, you know, big gaps. I don't remember which one pulls high or pulls low, but either case, this is what we're looking for. The cam sensor sits in here. Where'd that go? That's right here. So essentially, our cam sensor, you know, sits here, and then as the cam spins around, you know, it interrupts the signal here, and, you know, gives us our two big humps, two little humps. We're keeping this really simple, because sometimes that's the easiest way. But maybe one of these vanes is bent, or this is coming apart, you know, rubbing on this. That's what we see, and that's what we can only assume. And I've shoved the mirror down there, wherever it went. That's right here. I shoved that down there, but it's really of no help because we need to bar the engine over. I can only see one vane on there, so to speak. Let's see, I don't know if you guys can see it. Yeah, in that hole. So we can only see one, but we need to bar this engine over. All right, so here's the dealio. I got the depth stack endoscope kind of twisted down around and just rested in the perfect position so we can look, enhance, inside the cam sensor hole, and we can see the trigger. We can see what we need to see. I've got the wheel removed. I've got a ratchet over here. We're gonna see if we can't bar this over and have a look to see if we come up on any real anomalies here. Let's stop and look at that one. I gotta kind of stick my head in here. It's really hard to see anything. I mean, I think it looks like it's shiny right there, but let's just go all the way over. Oops. Hold up. Let's back it up, son. Bad idea to spin the engine backwards, oh boy. But we can see that this cam phaser is not locked, obviously, because we can see the trigger kind of snap ahead there. Oh, look at that. Did you see that, sucker? That thing like moved back in. Look at that. I don't know if you guys saw, I spun it backwards. Watch, I'm gonna spin it ahead. Yeah, it's sucked back. It's sucking back, look at that. And it's staying still. Oh yeah, this cam phaser, this thing's frigged. Ain't that some stuff, huh? So we saw it, we saw that sucker pop ahead. Yeah, this thing's coming apart, man. Yep, there it is, old son. All right, she broke. You and myself with no broke. All right, we figured it out. We're gonna spin it backwards, bad idea. But we can see on that center where that thing has been whacking. Now she's staying still again. Cam's moving, reluctor standing still. Look at that. Whoa, would you look at that? I don't think we really need to look at it anymore. We're just doing it for fun at this point, but boom. But that was pretty interesting, you know, how the trigger there, how it kind of like popped forward. You know, and that's what's causing the physical damage to the sensor. So that's pretty cool, huh? I think it was this vein right here. It's out pretty close. I think yep, there it goes. It sucked back in. It sucked in right there. It's gonna come out and slap your mama, okay? Still holding still. Oh, we're losing it. Yep, there she goes. All right, we're done spinning over. I'm wearing my little alarm out. Hopefully you guys were in focus here and could see everything. Yes. So that's it. The power of the Pico and an endoscope. We knew exactly where to go. And I guess that's it, folks. There's nothing more to see. The motor's got to come out. It needs a motor, lady. It doesn't really need a motor. It needs a timing set. So the engine's got to be dropped. Timing cover needs to come off. Chains, phasers, typical GM 3.6 stuff. First time I've ran across this symptom though, you know, with this start stall, which I honestly didn't think I was going to find anything in the cam timing, just because I've had these things come in sounding like diesel trucks and cam timing off the chart, every cam code, you know, under the sun for cam correlations over advanced, you know, cams retarded, you know, so on and so forth. And they always run, they run great. So, and like I say, I've had them off like teeth and they still run and they run well. So I really was kind of surprised when I saw what we saw. And I guess I just wanted to make this video to bring you along with where I thought we were going with it once I saw, you know, the anomaly on the scope. And also to show you the power of using a scope without really having to be super smart. Looking at it like, you know, big hump, little hump, you know. It gets more complicated than that, folks, but oftentimes that's all you need to know is, you know, here's my waveform, what should it look like, what does it look like, and why is it doing what it's doing? You know, why do we have missing teeth? Why do we have, you know, this extra trigger? Like, that's kind of weird, you know, and I've showed that before. I think we did a video like on a Honda 3.5 where the actual cam trigger itself was just defective. It was magnetized or something, and it was just leaving, you know, the pulse, if you will, on the big pulse. It was just on for too long. And we look at it and there's physically nothing wrong with it. We changed the cam pulley and bada bing, bada boom, Robert's your mother's brother. And it fixed it. But the fact of the matter is you could have never ever done that without a scope without being able to see what this computer's seeing. And that's what we see here. We look to see what the computer's seeing. I don't know why it's doing what it's doing. Like I say, whether it's screwing up, the spark timing or, the injection timing based on what it's seeing. I don't know. And it's really not worth knowing because, we know what the problem is. All we know is, garbage in, garbage out. It's getting a bad input. It's putting some bad outputs out. And that's all we can say. So hopefully this video isn't too boring. You guys got to see what I saw, and we're led right to the answer without putting any parts in the car. And now we just got to call the customer and let them know that, let them know what it needs. It needs a timing set. So I'm not sure if I'll get the job on it. I'm about 4 weeks out on appointments right now for, something of this caliber. So he may want to take it to another shop to have it fixed, but at least he knows that once they, hang a full GM timing set on it, chains, everything, provided they don't screw it up, it'll be good, and the car will work and run. And who knows, that sensor may still be good. It probably is, but I would replace it anyways because it's all chowdered up. It looks like we got done just in time because the battery died in this little guy. And I want you to go down before the battery dies in your phone, smart device, computer, whatever you're watching the SMA channel on. Leave a comment down in the comment section. Let me know how you would have traced this problem down, and what do you think about the value of a lab scope. Is it necessary or isn't it? And how would you have found the problem without it? And just let me know down there. Questions, comments, the Insta, the Facebook. You guys know what to do. And just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.